Am I changing my tune on Drew? Because I actually like some of her music, but what I don't like is Shamea's It Ain't My Fight, except for when it is. Shamea, is it Uchi Wally or one mic? Let's get into my recap for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 10. Wait, before we get started, I have a question for you. Do you have an unhinged or unserious take about reality TV? I want to hear about it. Go to channelsurfnetwork.com, click Hot Take Hotline, and leave me a voice note or send me an email with your most unserious or unhinged, unapologetic opinion about any reality TV show, no matter when it aired. Again, it's channelsurfnetwork.com. Click Hot Take Hotline, and I'm going to either read your email or play your voice note on my YouTube channel. Head there right now. Let me know how you feel. I want to react to it, and I'll let you know if I agree. Talk to you soon. Okay, back to the video. This last episode had me questioning if I am actually changing my tune about Drew, because whenever they play a snippet of her music, I actually like what I hear. And then I've always maintained that she's a beautiful woman, but for some reason I was just looking at her this episode and I'm like, that is a really pretty girl. Why don't I see it for her more? And I know I said she comes off very disingenuous, and I do mean that, but a lot of the ladies come off disingenuous, and I've been able to find some type of favor for them. So I don't know why I just can't see it for Drew. Maybe I need to go within and figure out what my real issue is with her. Shamea had me a little annoyed this episode, and I'll say I think I've been a little disappointed with Shamea since episode 2. Episode 1, she comes out of the gate and everybody is so happy, and we're like, yes, this is the housewife that we've been looking for. Shamea is that girl, but Shamea is way too comfortable playing the background, and she gives very much background character in these last couple of episodes. I thought this was going to be a new era for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I honestly thought Shamea would be leading the charge, but she's just not doing that for me. And her whole approach to Porsha's beef, it ain't my fight, but it is your fight when you try to make it your fight, Shamea. Drew's situation with Dennis isn't your fight, but you still took yourself down to the Cheesecake Factory to meet up with Porsha and Ralph. So is it Uchi Wally or is it one mic, girl? I do feel like Shamea is afraid to fall out with Porsha. I don't think she's necessarily physically afraid of Porsha, but I think she enjoys the perks of being Porsha's best friend. But that's so confusing to me because Shamea acts as if she doesn't have as much or more motion as Porsha does. Like, she's just as tea as Porsha is. I'm using all of the young lingo. As it stands, and as Porsha has been displaying to us, she doesn't seem like the type of friend that you need to fight to have. So I really don't understand what the attachment is with Shamea. Speaking of Porsha definitely meant to be petty and messy when she went to that dinner with Shamea and Ralph and decided to show those text messages to Ralph. She claims that she doesn't care or that she's above this, but at every turn, she shows that she actually is bothered by Drew. And I have a note for Ralph. Please go back to the drawing board with that podcast name, Kings and Queens Podcast. That's the most uninspired podcast title I've ever heard of. Take it from me, an actual 3-time award-nominated executive podcast producer. That title would have been in the trash can if you were one of my hosts. And you can tell Shamea didn't think it was a good idea either, because when he said the title, she was just like, yeah, throw it in the trash. The more I watch Britt on this show, the more I feel like she was unnecessary. I know I said in my previous video that she drove a lot of the early season drama with the issue with her in Kenya. However, now that we're here about the mid-season, she's really falling flat for me, way flatter than Shamea is, because for me, Britt just doesn't seem all that interesting. She's a very pretty girl, but there isn't much else there. And I echo the same sentiments that a lot of people have been saying about her. She's not even fun to watch in her conflicts because she doesn't know how to read. She just automatically tries to go for the jugular. Very much like Marlo, but not as low down as Marlo. But Marlo couldn't read either, and that's why she would always resort to saying mean things about your family or your relationships and things like that. And while relationships can be great reading material, it just depends on how low you're willing to go and the way that you deliver them. You can tell that with Marlo and now with Britt. They're never delivering anything with any real wit or comedic timing. They're just trying to be super hurtful. Whereas somebody like Angela or Kelli, Even Porsha, when they deliver a read, most of the time you can tell that it's being delivered with some sort of wit or comedic timing. Speaking of Angela being $2 million in debt with these homes is quite hilarious to me because it reminds me of something that the great Karen Huger said. You have to make millions to owe millions. So her being $2 million in debt, that did not make me blink an eye. She has debt in property assets, which she will sell at some point. So I'm not even worried for her on that front. But there were 2 times in this episode where I literally cackled, and both of them were from Angela. The first one was when Kelli was in her investment property, and Angela goes, "Kelli, I understand you have 3 walls. Don't you want 4? That lady is hilarious. And Angela, see, this is why people don't believe you're only 43, because you deliver shade like somebody's great aunt or some older woman that we meet at church. And the second time I laughed out loud was when Angela had Porsha come to her rental property and she said, "I would never invite a woman who said she was going to F my husband into my home." I laughed so hard, but I said, I know that's right. Angela knows to create those boundaries with someone who is on the prowl for other people's husbands. The other 2 things that Angela did this episode that really stood out to me is, one, she wasn't afraid to confront the rumor about Charles having an outside baby head on. Now, she did say she wasn't referring to Charles, and I think some people on social media pointed out that when she was introducing her family, she was very particular when she mentioned whose child was who, and that made some people raise an eyebrow, but I do believe her when she says that Charles didn't have an outside baby and that she was referring to her daughter's father. The other thing she did was prove that she is a puppet master. The way she got her lick back with Porsha and Shemia by almost covertly turning them against each other was like a masterclass in relationship manipulation. Now, I don't like to see people falling out, but I think for Porsha and Shemia, it was only a matter of time. And the fact that it was Angela that delivered the blow is interesting to me because she seemingly had it out with both of these ladies for this season, and then she made up with them, but it felt like maybe she was getting her little lick back by turning them against each other. Her planting that seed was really interesting to see, and it made the Pamper by Porsha event that much more electrifying. Now, all of the ladies looked hot as hell at the Pamper by Porsha event. Those are some beautiful ladies. Nobody can deny that. But I think what was so ugly about that event was how dismissive Porsha was of Shemia. You can tell that Shemia was hurt by Porsha. What I also picked up on is this seems like something that has happened before that Shemia has like always held on to with Porsha. We all know that Porsha didn't go to her wedding in Africa, and Shemia still seems to be holding a little bit of a grudge because of that. But I think throughout their friendship, there have been multiple instances of Porsha just not being a good friend. We've witnessed a few of them. Many seasons ago, when Phaedra was spreading the rumor about Kandi and Shemia, Porsha didn't come to Shemia's side. We know of that. Of course, we know about the wedding, like I just mentioned. And then we're seeing her this season be very flaky and shady towards Shemia. Even when Shemia went to go take a photo with Porsha at the Pampered by Porsha event, you could see Porsha's eyes like almost like she was annoyed that Shemia wanted to take a photo with her. I really want to understand why their dynamic is like that and why Shemia seems so stuck on being friends with this lady who is clearly not a good friend. Shemia has so many other friends. Why is Porsha so important? It can't be the amount of time, because yes, they've been friends for a really long time since they were teenagers, but that shouldn't mean anything if this person has consistently shown you that they are not good for you. Stand up, Shemia. I don't know. What do you guys think about this past episode? I actually enjoyed it. Like I said, I cackled a couple of times, all because of Angela, but I want to hear your thoughts. Why do you think Shemia is so attached to Porsha? Do you think Angela is as funny as I think she is? And do you think Britt belongs on Love and Hip Hop? Let me know in the comments. Chat soon. Bye.